Reporting live from the Mossley Hollins studio in Mossley, this is the Mossley Hollins News with Izzy, Georgia and Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna.
I'm Izzy.
And I'm Georgia. And in today's news we'll be talking about what is going on in the world.
There's 3 suspicious packages have been found in a major transport hub in London and turned out to be explosives.
This is what the Council Police have said. All packages were A4 sized, white postal bison and yellow jiffy bags. They were assessed by specialist officers to be small improvised explosive devices.
Scotland Yard, at an early stage of this investigation, had added that devices appear capable of catching small fires when opened, and that the Met Police Counter-Terrorism Command has launched an investigation.
Due to this horrific incident, the British Transport Police have stepped up to the patrol and their president.
As you have probably heard, there has been really bad fires on the moors. This is putting people in danger.
As firefighters try to fight the fire, Manchester Fire and Rescue Service forced residents to keep doors and windows closed as the smoke can irritate eyes, skin and air passages.
Experts say that the fire was generating high level of teeny particle of pollutions, the high mass, and combining the high level of oxygen, which is another pollution created when pollution is exposed to the sun, leading up to poor air quality in the area.
Another main topic is Andy Burnham's new addition to transportation in Manchester, the Opportunity Pass.
We interviewed Mr Marshall and he said the Opportunity Pass would be beneficial to 16 to 18-year-olds.
He also thought that the funding for the Opportunity Pass shouldn't be supplied for the council tax.
I later interviewed a Year 11 student, which Andy Burnham said when giving a speech about the opportunity.
Some tell me that it feels like a different world.
We then asked her view on Andy Burns, and she said that she cannot imagine herself working in diploming society, and that will allow young adults to experience a social culture change.
But she also feels that 16 to 18-year-olds will use the pass to socialise with her friends rather than for active use.
Last thing we'll talk about is no-deal Brexit.
No-deal Brexit is a scenario in which the UK would leave the EU with no agreement on what their relationship would be in the future, causing complications in many things such as trade laws and finance.
An outcome politicians are trying to avoid, however, the UK is set to leave the EU on March 29th, 2019.
Here's Ella with the sports news.
Now recently we have seen a triumph of Manchester United take storms in the Premier League with their new caretaker manager of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So far they have won nearly all their games with only drawing 2, which is 2-0 against Burnley and 1-1 against Newcastle. They have lost a Champions League match against Paris Saint-Germain, which they are playing their second leg of tonight. Hopefully they'll win, but we can't promise anything. And a few weeks ago we had the January Premier League Awards, and there Marcus Rashford received the Player of the Month, and alongside Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that won the Manager of the Month. Now on to Manchester City. They have recently just won the League Cup, beating Chelsea 4-3 on penalties, which is a huge achievement for them. Now, the league table at the minute is Manchester City on 71 points, Liverpool on 70 points, Tottenham Hotspur on 61 and Manchester United on 58. Now for all those young women out there who are thinking that girls can't play football, well, here's something for you. England women have recently won the She Believes Cup with a 2-1 win against Brazil, and a 2-all draw against USA, and a huge 3-0 win against Japan to take the trophy home. A huge congrats to Phil Neville's women on their first She Believes Cup win. Now on to Charlotte with the weather.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Mossley Hollins weather with me, Charlotte. It was an unsettled night last night for many with wet and windy conditions. Today's weather will be mostly cloudy with heavy and blustery showers with the odd thunderstorms in some places. An unsettled day for most with chilly and rain for most of Scotland. Showers elsewhere with some heavy thunder. Unsettled and breezy it was today. Rain and upland snow will continue to push north across much of Scotland. Some bright spells further south, but also frequent showers for many areas, some heavy with thunder. Low pressure is firmly in charge of the weather forecast, keeping things very changeable today, with weather fronts bringing more persistent rain across Scotland and Northern Ireland, with some hill snow as well. Across England and Wales, there will be some very heavy showers which will merge together to give longer spells of rain. Eventually, they will move their way eastwards, some brighter skies in between those showers, with fairly blustery winds, with a mild temperatures of around 13 to 15 degrees Celsius in England and Wales. In contrast, temperatures will decrease to around 75 degrees in Scotland and Northern Ireland. Making our way into the evening, it will continue with some rain and hailstorm. Tonight the rain will continue further southward to northwest England and Wales, with clearer skies to the south, temperatures no lower than 45 degrees. The area of low pressure is nudging its way into the North Sea, but what it will do is switch its wind direction into a northwest, which will start to draw in cooler air from the Arctic. Thursday is a chilly day for England and Wales, continuing with the theme of showers and spells of rain across northern and western areas, transferring their way south and east. Eventually, there will be some brighter skies with temperatures ranging from 7 to 11 degrees Celsius. As we head into the weekend, there will be some rain, wind and hail snow with very cold temperatures. Thank you. Now over to Grace and Cassidy for the local weather.
Now for the weather in Mossley with me, Grace.
And me, Cassidy.
Here in Mossley we are having light showers and a moderate breeze, and as the day goes on the temperature will slowly increase, but only up to 11 degrees. There will be lows of 5 degrees and highs of 11.
Tomorrow you can expect heavy rain and a fresh breeze. At around 5 p.m, the rain will slow down and from 6 onwards will be partly cloudy with a gentle breeze. Highs of 6 degrees and lows of 1 degree. Keep wrapped up. That's all from us at Mossley Hollins weather.
Now back to the studio with Grace and Kaya.
Hello, this is Kaya, Grace and Paige reporting all the latest Mossley news of what we have found out today.
Earlier today, we interviewed Shirley and asked her about the Mossley Heritage Centre and Trail. We also asked her about what her life was like when she was growing up. She explained that the Heritage Centre is a quiet and educational place where people can go to experience Mossley in the 1900s. They can also donate and buy items from the shop. Shirley volunteers along with many others to improve lives and retrieve precious objects from the past.
Shirley also told us about her childhood, saying that Whit Friday was one of her favourite days of the year, when she could walk in the procession with new clothes. It was one of the few days when she got new clothes, and she also got pennies for walking in the parade.
This is Kyle
And Grace,
reporting from Mossley Hollins High School.
we are speaking to
Shirley Howard.
about Mossley Heritage.
What was Mossley like when you were growing up?
Well, most of the mills were working. I lived on Cheshire Street, and when the Croft Mill finished, there'd be a siren sound, and hordes of workers would come streaming out of there, some of them waiting for buses to go to Stalybridge, some of them going to their homes nearby. It was quite smoky from the mill chimneys. Milk was delivered by horse and cart, and you put your jug on the window bottom, and the milkman came round with churns and poured out how much milk you wanted. Put a saucer on the top and a stone so that the birds couldn't get at it.
How is it different to what it is like now?
How was it different? The street lights were very different. They were mainly gas lights, and boys used to climb up the pole sometimes and light cigarettes from the gas at the top. Police, you knew the police by name, and if anybody did anything wrong, any children did anything wrong, they'd go right to your parents, or sometimes they'd give children a clip round the ear.
So how were the streets of Mossley different?
How are the streets different? Most of them weren't cobbled. Some are still cobbled now. But the streets were different because people mainly left the doors unlocked. And in the summertime, people would have deck chairs and sit outside the front door because they weren't busy. And as a child, you could play, for instance. We used to play rounders in the middle of Nicholas Road. Now, you wouldn't be able to do that now either, would you? Because you'd have to stop the game. Yeah.
What is your best memory of Mossley as a child?
Probably Whit Friday, because I had new clothes for Whit Friday, right from the skin up, and that was the only time that I had, absolutely new clothes, new shoes, new socks, new everything. And when we walked in the procession, people used to run out to the procession and give us pennies for our new clothes.
So, what can you tell us about the Heritage Trail and the Heritage Centre in Mossley?
The Heritage Centre, you get to it, it's really quite difficult to get unless you just know where it is. It's part of Emmaus car park. You walk on there and it's right in the far corner. I haven't been involved with it since it started at first. I've only really been involved with it probably for about closely involved for about the last 6 years. I found out about it because I was doing some research on my family, and I knew that they had cuttings from newspapers down there. And when I went in, I realised what an absolute good resource it was for Mossley, for local history.
To find out about?
Yes, to find out about what was happening, not just when I was a child, but from as long ago as 1800.
What do these things offer to visitors?
What do?
This centre in Mossley, what does it?
Oh, what does the centre offer? Well, it's set up, it originally opened as an industrial heritage centre because it was part of Britannia Mill, that little bit. But Emmaus couldn't use it because it has a great big baling machine in it. And Richard Darlington, who was very involved with Emmaus in another part of the country, suggested that they set it up and use it as a centre for the Civic Society. And so it was the Civic Society who first occupied it. And the first thing they did was get a grant, and they put around the walls boards that tell you about the history of Mossley, that maps that show you where all the mills were, that tell you about the making of cotton and so on. It's rather different now because we've set it up more like how people used to live, with what a Victorian kitchen would have been like, and we've been able to take on board a number of the artefacts from chapels and churches that have closed in Mossley. Their banners, their Bibles, in one instance, their altar, pictures of what it was like inside and so on.
So it's a very educational
Yes,
place.
it is, yes,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
So where did the idea come from to start the Heritage Centre?
Richard Darlington, he was the one who did all the negotiation with Emmaus to be able to use that particular
place.
room as a centre, and Emmaus are very, very supportive towards us. Yeah.
What was your adult life and job like?
What was my adult job? Well, there was an 11 plus when I was a girl, so you had to take an exam when you were 11 in order to be able to move from All Saints in Mossley. A lot of my friends in my class finished up working in the mills, which, fine, it was a job that they wanted to do. But if you managed to pass your 11 plus, then you went to either Ashton Grammar School, or some people, I think, went to Fairfield. And as I said to you before, if the parents particularly wanted the children to do more than just stay in a school in Mossley, then they arranged for them to get a place either in a secretarial college or somewhere in Manchester sometimes, somewhere in Stalybridge, somewhere in Ashton. But I managed to pass and I went to Ashton Grammar School. And then I went to Teacher Training College, I became a teacher first of all at Livingstone. Then I went to All Saints and taught infants there, although I've been trained to teach junior children. I had my first child, and while I was on maternity leave with that child, Mr. Archer, who was the head teacher at Mossley Hollins then, rang me and wanted me to come and teach up here. Well, I hadn't taught children beyond the age of 11, and I didn't think it was my scene, and I didn't want to go back to teaching. From there, I became deputy head at a school in Duckingfield. Then I became head teacher at Flowery Field School in Hyde, and I stayed there until I retired. It was, I don't know whether it still is, the largest primary school in Tameside with 500 pupils. And I really enjoyed that.
Is there anything else in particular that you'd like us to put into the report?
I suppose what young people could do in Mossley. I mean, my parents were fairly strict, and I wasn't allowed to go out dancing to the Palais de Dance in Ashton or anything like that. But there were dances at the Mechanics, which was the Mechanics Institute, which was on Stamford Road. There were dances there, Mayor's Ball, Police Ball, all kinds of entertainment really. And the Sunday schools were very much in use. Every Sunday school had a pantomime, so there was an opportunity to do drama, to be in the chorus or a principal in the pantomime. I was usually in the chorus at All Saints. And we actually did a production of Oklahoma at one time at All Saints, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being interviewed. Found out a lot about Mossley.
Have you learned something?
Yeah.
Good.
I think we'll be visiting the Heritage Centre.
Yeah. It's an exciting night for Mossley Hollins High School, as tonight is the opening night of their 2019 production, Wizard of Oz. We have spoken with Mr. Wayne, the director of the production, about his experience, and he said that his favourite production yet, as he gets to work with the amazing cast and staff. Tickets are nearly gone, but be sure to get your hands on one. They are just £5 from the school reception.
We are here interviewing Mr. Wayne for the Wizard of Oz cast. This Wizard of Oz performance will premiere tonight, tomorrow and Friday.
What is the best part about being a director?
The best part about being a director for something like this is that I get to work with the most talented, most enthusiastic and most passionate students in our school. I think people really pull out of the bag for a school production.
How hard is it to be in control of everything?
It's very stressful, it's very time consuming, but the thing that makes it all worth it is being able to see how happy it makes all of you and the audience. We've got a big cast out on this, so we need to make sure that everybody's really happy.
How hard have all the pupils worked?
Every single person involved has worked exceptionally hard. I think it's been amazing to see the standard even raised even higher than what it usually is this year.
What has been the difficulties about leading up to this point?
Biggest difficulty is, like I say, trying to do everything myself and ensuring that all the costumes have been ready on time. That's been a big, big problem. However, we've managed to sort it just in time.
Is this your favourite performance?
Definitely, yeah, because we've got the best cast, we've got the best crew, and everybody's been really supportive and helped everybody along the process. Okay.
How hard has it been to multitask between Linda and the choreographer?
Well, it's been quite hard just because there's quite a few dances, and also we have rehearsals for acting and dancing at the same time. But I think we've managed to create our time wisely so each piece gets done just in time for the show.
Is it nervous performing in front of a huge audience?
Sometimes it can be. It depends whether the show's running smoothly or whether it's a bit stopping and starting.
Is it hard to choreograph with so many people with different styles?
Definitely. Not everybody's done musical theatre in our dance group before, so it's definitely a challenge trying to get them to use your facial expressions. But I think everyone's definitely come out of the shell and really embrace the musical theatre.
What is your favourite dance in the show?
It's definitely got to be the Jitterbug, which is the start of Act 2. I think it's all the dancers' favourite dance now. It's just really upbeat and it's just a really good way to start Act 2.
How does it feel to be in your last show?
A bit sad. As I'm not here on the Friday, the Thursday will be my last show. It's like, it's a nice new journey into going into musical theatre college.
How does it feel to be the main one?
It feels great. I'm a little bit intimidated just because Dorothy is in most of the scenes, but I'm also very honoured because it's a role that I actually really wanted to have later in life, but I got it now, so I'm excited.
Is it your first time being the lead role?
Yes. Yes. I'm excited to have the lead role, and it is my first role, so I'm trying to take it very seriously. I'm trying to make sure I know all my lines, but yes, it is my first lead role in the school year.
Do you think you'll become an actor in the future?
I hope so. I want to, if it's not acting, it's singing, I want to be a performer when I'm older. So I'm hoping that I will become an actress and go to an acting school or a music school, so yeah.
How does it feel to be one of the youngest actors in performance?
Well, you've got more pressure because everybody's had more experience than you. So you kind of feel like you need to catch up on what you've been doing.
Is it hard to juggle between rehearsals and your schoolwork?
It's really hard, especially when you've got like after school curricular activities, because obviously you've got rehearsals till later, and you have to do this other stuff with homework and then schoolwork and
Do you enjoy working with older pupils out of other years?
yeah, I feel like they empathise with you more, and like when you get things wrong, they're not as opinionative as well.
Do you look up to the year 11s?
Yeah, because they've been doing it for a while, so they're kind of like role models to us.
Would you wish to be in any of the upcoming productions in the following years?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go for a bigger role. Bigger impact.
How do you juggle around all of your different roles?
It's quite hard, especially when you've got costume changes backstage, because when you've got multiple roles and you've only got a short time to change, you've got to get into the role, and it's also learning the different lines because you've got to learn 2 sets, and if they're in like similar scenes, it's quite hard to remember which is which.
Obviously you're playing the role of Glinda on Friday. Is that nerve-wracking because that's quite a big part?
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting it because the person who's playing Glinda usually had to drop out because only on that night because she's got something on. So I got notice a bit late, so I didn't have as long to learn my lines. So it was quite hard to catch up with everyone else.
Are you glad that you put yourself forward for this?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really good experience, and it can help with other things, not just drama, such as like confidence and self-esteem, because it's just a really nice thing to be involved in.
Do you wish to continue this in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I want to be in all the productions every year. I want to join in. We also interviewed people around the school for their opinion of the school hour petition. Some were very supportive of the hours changing to starting at 10 o'clock, saying it could have health and happiness benefits. However, others did not think it was a good idea, saying most of the day was wasted away.
I'm Katie. I am reporting live from Mossley Hollins High School. A recent Instagram craze saw students across the country signing a petition in hope that there would be a change in the school hours. This petition asked Parliament to consider a 10 a.m. start to the school day and a later finish. I am here with the head teacher of Mossley Hollins, Mr. Marshall, as I would be interested to hear your thoughts on this topic. What do you think about changing school hours? Do you see a need for this?
Well, first of all, good morning, Katie. Thank you for being here and asking the questions. I have considered this, and a 10 o'clock start to the school day would have lots of benefits, not least the fact that not only the students but the teachers would get a little bit longer at home before the day starts. However, I would want to know what was happening with that time that we've lost. So if the students were doing something constructive with that time, maybe some exercise, maybe some walking, maybe walking to school even, then I think it might have some merits. If they were using that time to catch up on sleep that they probably could have taken the evening before instead of being on their mobile devices, then I wouldn't see a value in it. The flip side, of course, is if we start later, we need to finish later. And I think this is where the students need to think a little bit more widely. Many teachers have got young families, and those young children will need to be collected from childminders, from nurseries, from primary schools even. And I think a later finish to the day does put a lot of pressure on that. The other thing is a later finish to the day means that those teachers aren't at home to prepare for their evenings with their own families. So I think there's an argument for a slightly longer day, but I think there are more compelling arguments for a similar start to what we have now.
The reason for this petition was to improve concentration. Do you think it will?
I think there's lots of ways to improve concentration. I don't see how starting later will. There's no evidence to suggest that later in the day children concentrate more. In fact, quite the contrary. I've been a timetabler for many years, and I very often think, what lessons am I putting on in the afternoon? Because it's well known to head teachers that children concentrate best early in the day rather than later.
Over 180,000 people backed this petition. Why do you think this is?
It's tempting to say that they'd quite like a lie-in. It's also tempting to say that people kind of follow a trend, especially on social media. But the fact that 180,000 people are interested in looking at means it's certainly worth a discussion.
Teenagers were allowed to participate in signing this petition. Do you think this freedom is beneficial?
Absolutely. I think teenagers should have the right to speak their minds on every topic, which is why I'm really keen in our own student council and our own student leadership teams, because I think they've got a big say in what we do in schools. I think what students have to realise though is, whilst they can bring suggestions, they also need to be attentive to and listen to the arguments against. Sometimes it can be that when an idea like this is brought, then it's as if there could be no other option than this, so we've got to think really carefully.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall, for your time. I will now pass on over to Paige, who will hear from some Year 9 students.
Thank you, Katie. Good morning. We are reporting live from Mossley Hollins on the subject, school hours. As Katie's explained, there has been multiple petitions and changing school hours to start at 10 a.m. and finish at 4. For secondary school students, I'm here with some Mossley Hollins students. What are your thoughts on changing school hours, and why do you think this?
I think it's bad because you'd have less time for like sleeping, and you'd have less time to sleep, and it would be really boring if you just like get home and then you do your homework and then you'd have to go to sleep straight away.
I think it's good because you'd have time to sleep in until 10 o'clock, and then if you get home a bit later, it doesn't matter because you can go to sleep a bit later because you know you're going to wake up a bit later in the morning.
What do you think some advantages and disadvantages are for starting school later would be?
I think a disadvantage would be you'd be walking home in the dark. It'd be, like in the winter it'd be quite hard to see where you're going because it's quite dark.
I think an advantage of starting school later is that you could still do some homework in the mornings if you wanted to, because you'd have time.
If school hours were to be changed, what time do you think we should start and finish?
We should probably start at 9 and finish at 4:30.
And what do you?
I think we should start at 10 and finish at 4:15.
Do you believe that changing school hours would be beneficial to students and teachers? If so, why?
I do believe that because they would have time to sleep in a bit more, so their brains could be properly functioning and processing information.
Right, I have some questions for Grace. If time is changed, do you believe that this will help you and your peers?
Yeah, I do, because we could be a lot more awake by 10 o'clock and ready to learn.
Do you have any doubts on starting school later on? If so, what?
I think if you got a detention or a New Hope, it would be later on, so in the winter you might be walking home in the dark. But then a way to solve this would be to put your detention the next morning, so then that would encourage students not to get detentions because you wouldn't want to be waking up early.
Do you not think that starting later and finishing later would be dangerous?
It might be a little bit dangerous because you'd be walking home in the dark, but then we could still make it safer by making sure you're walking home in groups and
things like that.
Okay, some questions for Amelia. Why do you feel that there is no need for a change of school hours?
Well, if we keep it how it is, then we have like time after school to like do whatever we want and do homework and sleep without having to like worry about not having enough time.
Do you think that students get enough sleep nowadays?
Yeah.
Now that over 180,000 people have signed the petition, do you think that is enough people to carry out the petition?
Yeah, it's quite a lot of people.
Okay, thank you for your time. It has been really interesting listening to your opinions today. I'm Paige and this was our article on changing school hours. That was our local news summary for our town's heritage, our school production and the school hour change. What do you think? Should our school hours change? Are you interested in the school production, or maybe you want to find out more about Mossley in the past?
Thank you. That was Mossley Hollins News. Have a great evening.